As a spinner, two of your greatest strengths are obviously getting massive amounts of turn and the consistency of where you pitch the ball. So in this video, we're going to be going through 10 drills that will assist you with these two facets of the game. The first 6 will be for both finger and wrist spin, where at the end, we're going to go 2 specifically for finger spin and 2 that will focus solely on wrist spin. For the first set of drills, we are going to be doing stand-in wrist work. For this, we are making sure that the ball is coming out of the hand with revs on the ball, because obviously the more revs we have, the more turn we're going to get. For the finger spinner, we're going to stand and we're going to throw it up while trying to get the fingers going over the top of the ball to spin across there, focusing a lot on the finger motion through the ball. Imagine a line on the ground, bounce on the one side and try and get it to finish on the other side. For the wrist spinner, we're going to then focus on our fingers moving through the ball along the same time as our wrist. We're going to throw the ball up in front of us and trying to impart enough revs to get the ball to bounce in front of us and bounce back to us. Both of these drills work because if we have to think about our action at the top, it is how we're going to be releasing the ball from our hand. The second drill set we are going to look at is half pitch underarm throws. For this, we're going halfway down the pitch, and for the finger spin, we're going to hold it in our fingers, allowing our hand to go forward and trying to impart turn underneath the ball. Again, we are trying to pitch the ball slightly outside off and allow the ball to spin in towards off stump. This is to make us comfortable with how the hand moves and so that we can see the ball reacting off of the surface. For the wrist spinner, it is very similar, except you're going to be trying to turn the ball the other way, pinching it on middle to middle and leg and trying to spin the ball past off stump. So it gives us an accurate representation of how many revolutions we're putting on the ball. For this one, your wrist is going to get a bit more through the ball and you're really going to flick your ring finger over the ball to impart those revs. The third drill is actually going to focus on the action now with the ball. We're going to start in a position, a set position, and from here we're going to bowl the ball while keeping both feet on the ground. This is to isolate the top half of our body and to make sure that we are comfortable doing it. We're going to do it for finger spin, making sure we get nice and over, and we're going to do it for wrist spin, making sure we get nice and around. Obviously, in the set position, for the finger spin ball, your stride is going to be a little bit shorter. And for the wrist spin ball, your stride is going to be a little bit wider. Once you are comfortable with this, we're going to add a slight progression to it, where we are going to drag through for the follow through. For the follow through, we're only going to focus on the step after the set and trying to make sure that it is 180 degrees from your starting point. This is to help us complete our action and get the most out of it. For number 4, we are now going to be isolating the back foot and the front foot, making sure that we're strong with our balance and also making sure that we can spend time in our action. The more time we spend in the crease, generally, the more revs we can impart on the ball. For the first one, you want a raised surface or something that can raise the surface. You're going to step onto it with your back foot and then complete your action. We're going to focus on this for finger spin and wrist spin, making sure that we can get through the crease with a good drive without allowing our weight to fall behind ourselves. The second part of this, we are now going to have the raised surface for the front foot. We're going to start with our front foot already on the surface by weight on our back foot landing. From there, we're going to make sure we go over the front foot and complete our delivery stride with action. This is important because it is going to teach us to spend time on our front foot, which is going to allow us the time to get through the ball at the top of our action and get those revs on it, and give us that little bit more control because we are not rushing ourselves. And if you'd like to help us rev up our channel, hit that like button so we can share it to more people. Drill set number 5 is going to be the bound and bowl. For this, you're going to sit in the bound position with your weight already leaning forward and over our front foot. From here, we are going to jump forward and complete our action. This is to isolate that last little piece before you get into your gather, to make sure that you're nice and consistent and nice and strong from those positions. Again, remembering that for finger spin, your stride in the landing is going to be smaller than that of the wrist spin. Getting nice and over and using that momentum to drive us through the crease while spending time on the front foot from the previous drill and allowing us to complete our action with a follow through. For the 6th drill, we have now added bands into the practice. The resistance of the bands is going to force us to get into stronger positions and ensure that we are focusing in the right lines for whichever action we're doing. For the off spin one, you're going to be going away from the pole, pulling the band forward to make sure that the wrist gets used to going over the top of the ball. As you can see from the different angles, the fingers are working nice and over the top of the ball with a slight forward motion, because you want that little bit of a top spin as an off spin action. Do this consistently, making sure that the pinky is forward, because that is going to give you your best release point. For the wrist spinner, we're going to be pulling away from the paw to make sure that the wrist is nice and strong going towards us. This is important because you want to really work over the ball with a slight pullback on it. Because as you pull back with the wrist spin action, you impart more revs on the ball and allows the ball that time to kiss the surface and then really rip away from the batter. Again, making sure that our lines are good, trying to envision that the seam is pointing towards a second slip or a short third man angle. For drill number 7, this is a finger spin only drill, and we're going to focus on that shorter stride that we spoke about earlier. It's important for a finger spinner to have a shorter stride so they can get more height onto the ball, so that we can get over the top and allow the ball to do the work down at the batter's end of the pitch. How we've done this is we've set up cones to make sure that we've got a normal stride length, but shortening that stride to really get up and over the front of our action. The bowler is going to run in and get into their gather and try not land on any of the cones. The back foot over the front set of cones and the front foot behind the front set of cones, and bowling through there, having a follow through, and in the follow through, don't drag through any of the cones. Now that we've spoken about this, let's move on to drill number 8, where it is wrist spin focus. But here, we're going to add another line of cones and force ourselves to lengthen our stride, because the longer stride is going to help us spend time in the crease. But to really help us spend more time in the crease, we're going to add another little section to it, where the bowler is going to have a cone in their front hand so they can visualize their arm go nice and long and through the action. This will also enable the bowler time on the front foot and allow them to get through the crease to impart more spin on the ball. Drill number 9, we are back to finger spin. This is to focus on getting the ball out of the hand nicely and trying to get used to our fingers and our wrist working through the ball to give us that confidence that we can do it in our bowling action. For this, we want to be going 3/4 way down the pitch, getting into a throwing position, but ensuring that our pinky is going towards the stumps throughout the entire motion of this. Getting nice and over the ball and trying to impart as many revolutions as possible. This is going to train us to get our fingers working through the ball while strengthening our fingers in these motions to get the ball giving us the best value down at the batter's end of the pitch. Make sure you're trying to pitch the ball outside off, and in your head you're trying to spin it past leg stump. This will give us the best value. For our final drill, drill number 10, we are back to wrist spin. This is to ensure that we get our arm going through a nice angle and not too high through the action. What you're going to do is you're going to take a step into the crease, and as your arm is coming up through the action, when it gets to shoulder height, you're going to pause, you're going to have a look to make sure that the arm is on the open side of the body, and then from there you're going to try and generate momentum to bowl through the pitch. We're doing this on a full pitch length to make sure that we get used to bowling the ball down to the far end. It is tough not having the full momentum through the action, but it will train us in the best possible way to get our wrist working through the ball and still driving forward at the same time. Thank you for watching this video. We hope that you enjoy. To be honest, this is like my 7th take of this and I'm getting a little bit frustrated and Zenny keeps laughing at me.
Thank you for watching
the code.
MRF.
Please use the code.
The description will be in the link below.
Do you want to? No, let me go one more. I'll get it this time. If you want any MRF cricket gear at 10% off, use the code MRFCricXI. The link will be in the description below. Also, a massive thank you to all our members that help support this channel and make these videos possible. Their names will be over here, and it says sometimes they're all, sometimes they're there, so I don't know what to do anymore. If you want our best 5 cricket tips that we could ever give anyone, they'll be over here.